put it better myself. I couldn't say it in better words than what Smell the Glove has said it like here. 5 days until the proper football is back. We'll be counting down the minutes. We'll be counting down the seconds, to be quite frank. It's not long now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another one of our weekly Q&A streams where once again I have a feeling it might not be the only time we do one this week depending on what we have to work with. I enjoy these streams during the international breaks. It diversifies the conversation a little bit. It gets you guys involved. We bring up topics that have to do with the past, present and future of Celtic Football Club. Generally they're quite enjoyable and it's nice to see you all piling in for your Monday night edition. 7:30 start tonight, a wee bit later, but welcome in to everybody who's here. A big shout out first of all, starting off with Graham, who has become a channel member just as the stream begins. Thank you, Graham, it is much appreciated. Welcome to the 118 Club. You've got plenty of fine compadres by your side, the likes of Wizard Mortal, the likes of Mackenzie, Smell the Glove, and a few others. Shout out to all the channel members and good evening to everybody else who is in here tonight, including Jace, including Brooklyn, including Martin, including the evil genius Kenny. It's nice to see you all. We're going to have some conversation. I'm going to be relying mostly on your questions throughout the stream because there isn't a lot to talk about tonight, but we do have a couple of wee stories that we can go over to keep us occupied for the next 10 minutes or so before I do turn on to your questions. If you haven't already, you know what to do. Go down below, hit like, hit subscribe, especially smash that like button, get the content out on the recommended pages of everyone that is a Celtic supporter. And we've been doing the FM series the past couple of days. I've decided just to turn some of the 118 Club streams into kind of short form videos for a few episodes, and you know, that's what matters most, you know, to try and give you some content through this international break, because I understand that it is quite tedious just waiting, and you know, for me it's tedious considering this is my job and I rely on using money and to live. So you know, I'm trying my best. So I hope you've been enjoying it the last couple of days. Yeah, so we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to start with the stuff about Nicholas Kuhn, because it emerged over the past day or so that Julian Nagelsmann, the Germany national team manager, has indeed been keeping an eye on Nicholas Kuhn. He's not a nobody to him, of course. Remember, after that RB Leipzig game in the Champions League, the German newspaper Bild called Nicholas Kuhn a German no-name. If you remember, the headlines were that a German no-name has defeated RB Leipzig after his fantastic performance against RB Leipzig on the night. But he's not a no-name to the Germany national team boss. He has spoke about him and his chances of perhaps getting a call up to that national team soon. I mean, people have been raising the question. He's one of the most informed players at the moment in the whole continent, not just in Scotland and across all of Europe. Nicholas Kuhn has contributed to 10 goals and 11 assists in 17 games, 21 goal contributions in 17 games. And I know that a lot of people, of course, like to talk about the standard of Scottish football, and they like to talk about the difference in quality and drop-off in quality between, you know, the English Premier League and the Scottish Premiership, or the German Bundesliga and the Scottish Premiership. But at the end of the day, this is a guy that is proving it at the biggest team in Scotland, winning trophies with the biggest team in Scotland, and he's converting that form over into European performances as well against RB Leipzig, a side who are contenders to win the German Bundesliga this season. So there's a very talented player there, and of course Julian Nagelsmann wouldn't be doing his job properly if he didn't acknowledge the form that he was in. So he was asked about Nicholas Kuhn in this international break and his chances of being picked alongside players Malik Teo and Jan Bissek, two players as well who've been in good form for their clubs. Nagelsmann said in response to that, we are focusing on all German players. Malik Teo has been with the national team before, but he's been out for quite some time, and I think both he and Bissek are great players who need to improve on some things. And then he said directly in relation to Nicholas Kuhn that Kuhn is also a good player with a lot of desire. He's someone we're keeping an eye on, but calling up a new player always means excluding another. So not a direct yes or no to being called up anytime soon. Listen, if I was to be perfectly frank about things and be blunt about things, I don't see Nicholas Kuhn getting a Germany call-up in a Celtic shirt. I don't mean to sound downbeat about that, and I don't mean to sound the pessimist that you might think I am in saying that, right? But it's just an incredibly difficult national team to break into. I mean, we looked at this the other day, and I think one of the the member only streams, or maybe it was the public stream. I can't remember. Maybe it was the just general stream last week. Someone said, should he be in that national team setup? But it's difficult when you look at the players who are in that Germany national team, and you look at the players that they've got playing out in the wings, the likes of Joao Musiala, the likes of Leroy Sané, the likes of Serge Gnabry, a lot of Julian Brandt. You know, these are players that realistically a Celtic player isn't going to steal their spot in the team. And even if they were to be dropped, there is another list of players who aren't in the Germany national team right now who are probably ahead of Nicholas Kuhn in the pecking order. They will be looking at Nicholas Kuhn. Of course they will. That's not even debatable with the form that he's been in. But I don't think it means that he gets a call-up anytime soon. People might say, well, what about the meaningless friendlies? What about the ones maybe when it comes to March time or maybe next summer when it's outside of an international tournament? I just don't see it. And I really hope he does. It would be huge. I mean, I don't think in my lifetime I've ever seen a German player be called up to the national team that's played for Celtic. You know, we have had players who have previously played for the German national team. Germany's one of those countries that in my lifetime have been consistently one of the top nations. I know they've kind of tailed off a bit in recent years. They're not as good as they have been in previous... Oh, I am eligible for a ticket to the League Cup final. That is gorgeous news. That is absolutely gorgeous. I just got a... That is gorgeous. Wait a send... Oh, what a message to get on stream. I just seen the email notification. I am eligible for the League Cup final. I got a ticket. And do you know what the worst part is? I can't even go. That is fantastic. Fantastic. I can't go. I'm going to see Paul McCartney that night. So I'm not going. No, right, not to the final. I'm not going because I'm going to see Paul McCartney. And I paid 185 quid for Paul McCartney tickets. And if I don't see Paul McCartney before I die, I'll probably be very sad. So... yeah, anyway, people, I'll take it. I think the old man might be first in the list, to be quite honest. I think that Stevie might be highest in the list for the ticket, lads. I'm sorry to break anybody's hearts. Sorry, Jack, I see it's your 18th, but, you know. Couldn't disagree more to call up, have a look at the form players. Kuhn is definitely... yeah, he is a form player. He has no denying. Mark, I agree. Listen, if I was the Germany national team boss, I would pick him. I would absolutely pick him. There is no doubt about it. 100%. I would pick him every day of the week. I'm just playing on the chances of realism, and I'm just going along the signs of, will a Celtic player get in the Germany national team when there are world-class players there for selection? Probably not. But it's good that they're looking at him. It's good that they've acknowledged it. Now, the big question I think a lot of people were getting from it, and a lot of people were getting carried over with was... hold on, that's everybody in the group chat's popping off because I don't think any of my mates have been parted yet. But it'll take time. You know, a lot of people getting carried away because, you know, they think that this means that he's going to be on the radar of all these big clubs. It doesn't make a difference. He's already going to be on their radars, and whether he got called up to the German national team or not, it's not going to accelerate that process. We've already heard that Premier League teams are looking at him. Now, we heard the good news that Brentford weren't going to go for him in January, which is fantastic, great. It means we'll have him to at least summer, hopefully. But there's still Fulham floating around there. There's probably some unnamed clubs from England and Germany and where else in the world kind of floating around there. Him being in the Germany national team or not is not going to accelerate the process. Nicholas Kuhn, if he keeps up this form, it will be hard to keep him next year. It will be really, really hard to keep him. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that was that. Julian Nagelsmann is the guy, is the man who is being linked with the scouting process for the national team of Nicholas Kuhn. I don't know where I was going with that. I got a tad distracted. So yes, there we go. People asking the question. People keep asking the question. You know, Kuhn, Jota, or whatever. Just enjoy him. You know, he's enjoying form just now. He's got to keep that going. And a good point that's raised by Kyle. Look, Celtic are in a great position right now, and you know, people will always constantly talk about the future of Celtic players and whether or not they will be here for a long time or here for a short time. At the end of the day, Celtic are in a very good position. They've got him contracted until 2029. They have him in a position where Celtic have all the cards to play with when it comes to negotiating with teams. If Nicholas Kuhn was to leave, if this does get sent into overdrive in the next 6 months, and he was to leave next summer, I'm sure that Celtic will get a very healthy sum of money. So don't panic yet, you know. Let's see. And, you know, listen, I hope he gets a call up to the Germany national team. Absolutely. But that's that. And aside from that, there's not much else to talk about in terms of what's going on. Liam Scales had a bit of a disaster last night, didn't he? He didn't have a great evening at all. I'm so sorry to hear what happened, Liam. I was coming back from Fear and Loathing last night, and I thought to myself, oh, I wonder what the score was with England and Ireland. And I loaded up Thought Mob, and I seen that it was 5-0. Kind of drew the breath through the teeth, going, that's a sore one. That's a sore one. Not that I cared, I'm Scottish at the end of the day. I didn't really care who won the game, but, I like seeing England get beat, and, I'd love to see Ireland beat them. I wonder how it went. I wonder how everybody played. I wonder how Scalesy played. 0-0 until he got sent off. Fuck happened, Liam? Terrible. Anyway, good stuff. Scotland play tonight, in fact, don't they? That's tonight. How we all thinking about that? What we all thinking? I'm hoping they can build off the back of that result against Croatia last week, and I think they could. I really do. I think Poland are a very beatable team. I mean, they've shipped off a healthy amount of goals in this group stage. So hopefully Scotland can get a good result tonight. I'd love to see them win. And do you know what? I don't know if it's just because they won last week. You know me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm, Braveheart himself and William Wallace cheering on Scotland every week, because I'm not. I know I'm not. I'm not going to pretend that I am. Maybe it's just the win that's perked me up a wee bit. But even though it's away from home tonight, I think they can do it. I genuinely think they can do it. It kicks off in 3 minutes' time. A win could send them into second place should Portugal beat Croatia. So it's a big game, and I think they've got a chance. Listen, I'm not too worried about Lewandowski, and I'm not going to watch the game. No, well, I probably will stick it on. I'm not too worried about it, but I think that they can handle them. They've handled them before, and they've handled better players before as well. Lewandowski's great, one of the best strikers I've ever seen in my lifetime, if not the best. I'm a huge Lewandowski fan, but there's no reason why Scotland can't handle him. They've handled Haaland, they've handled, great players. So, yeah. That's on in a few minutes' time. Anyway, let's turn this into a Q&A, shall we? Let's get your questions, and let's have the answers. So, yeah, send anything in. Kieran Auld is having a hairy canary in the group chat, trying to figure out everything, details to this ballot. He is, he's losing his marbles. Just stick the FM on in here. No FM tonight, sadly, Wizard Mortal. No FM tonight. Where's my mouse so I can bring up questions? Thoughts on Bally possibly leaving in January to go back to Barca? I've said this a few times now, and I'll stick by it. Until there's something that's a bit more, I don't know, until there's more there to it, I'm not going to get too carried away with it right now. If it happens, it happens. Listen, there's a £3.5 million clause in his contract. If Celtic really want him, they can pay it. And if Bally really wants to come back, he can come back. It's as simple as that. So it's not the end of the world. And listen, if he doesn't, he doesn't. And we'll just need to get over it. Better players have gone. And I hope he doesn't. I would love to see him here till the end of the season to really get to understand him a bit better. But I think he's happy here. And Celtic fans are getting happier with him as well. I think it would be... listen, I think there's a bit of hyper activity surrounding that. I think that one story came out and it really picked up steam and people got a wee bit carried away. Listen, we'll see in January, but there's not too much else in it before. Thoughts on Palmer's brace? Good on him. That's all I can say. Don't really have any other thoughts than that. Good on him. I mean, I like to see him do well. Does it mean he's going to come back and suddenly start playing for Celtic? Of course it doesn't. He'll get chances when he gets chances, and it will stay what it was before he went away on international duty, but good on him. That's what I'd say. New to the channel last week. Love the content. Hail from Ardoyne in Belfast. Thank you. I very much appreciate that, Angelina. I hope you're well. Any update on the Bernabeu deal? Nope, nothing yet. Nothing more than what we talked about last time. Apparently there's a few teams though that are interested in him. I was reading that, but yeah, nothing in terms of any sort of definites or numbers getting thrown around as to what's going to happen. The one thing I do see is if we sign Lenny Miller, he can bring some free kicks if the Motherwell game is anything to go on. Yeah, I mean, Celtic are a team that in my lifetimes, and well, not my lifetime, that's an absolute lie, we've had Nakamura, but over the past few years, we've not had, I don't think we've had any really exceptional free kick takers or set piece takers. We've had Matt O'Reilly, who was good at them, but wasn't like, it wasn't as if when Matt O'Reilly stepped over a ball, it was a guaranteed goal. And I don't think that's the case with Lennon Miller either, but he's early in his career, I'd love a good free kick taker. I miss like a Nakamura. Somebody who you knew every time was going to either score or come close. Every time we get a free kick now, I genuinely say that it's going to smack the ball. And I'm right 9 times out of 10. And I'm sure you're all the same. I'm sure you're all the same. Yeah, I agree. I would love to see Valley stay. Loan Zirkzee in and let Ryan coach him well. Listen, if the FM's anything to go by, then yeah, I'll do it. I'm up for it. Goal to Celtic, played well against the Croats. Would you give it peace with Ryan Gold, please? You love winding me up about it. Thoughts on the 7:44. So yeah, I only noticed this the other day. I completely passed me by that Celtic were going to be a 7:45 kick-off on Saturday against Hearts, and I am beats 12 noon on Sunday. Does it? I don't know. I don't agree. I don't know. I think if you had to have a ticket for the game, I'd rather go to an away game at 7:45 on a Saturday than noon on a Sunday. Absolutely. Like 100%, I'd rather go at that time if I was going to the game. So for the match going fan, absolutely better. But from a watching on the telly point of view, I'm not a fan. I don't like sitting about all day waiting on Celtic to play. I want 3 o'clock, and I want my game, and that's it. And that's the latest I want it. You know, I hate sitting about in the house waiting all day. And I mean, I know you could go out to the pub and watch it or whatever, but I guess I'm being selfish in this sense. I don't go out to the pub to watch their games. I hate watching games in the pub. Hate being surrounded by every wanker of the day shouting nonsense at the telly, the ones that don't get football. So yeah, for me, I'm not a fan of it. If I was going, I'd be a big fan of it, but I'm not going. Griff could hit a free kick. He could, to be fair. He could. He was a pretty good free kick taker. I'll give him that. That's one thing he was good at. Does Yang have a future at Celtic? For now, yeah. It's just one of those conversations that changes with the week, doesn't it? Just changes by the week. The last good set piece taker was Juranovic. Yeah, even he wasn't like incredible. He was good. He was solid. I want more than that. I want a Nakamura. I want a David Beckham at Celtic. You know, somebody like that. Thoughts on Amram as United manager? Good appointment. Hope it goes well. Love night games. Yeah, I mean, I like them during the week. I just don't like them on a Saturday. I don't like them in England either. I hate when I'm sitting all day waiting at 8 o'clock. Like, if it's a game that you really want to see, I just want it on, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm just miserable. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's it. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes on Saturday, I suppose. It'll be a good atmosphere and stuff. I think for the general game itself, it's good. I think that, you know, people, I mean, I say that, it just means that people are out all day boozing. But you know what I mean? I think that it'll be good for the game. I think it'll be good for the country and bringing in these kickoffs overall. It's more games in the telly or whatnot, even if it's Premier Sports. I think there is more positives than negatives. Just from a selfish point of view, I am not a huge fan of late kickoffs. That's what I'll say. Night games are great crack. One of my favourites was the Ange final. Yeah, same. But it was a Wednesday night. So, I think it's very different when it comes Tuesday and Wednesday. You know, that's fine. I'll have a quarter to 8, on a Tuesday and Wednesday. Just on a Saturday, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. What's in pot noodles? That's not what I was expecting. Is that where we are with this international break? We don't care about Celtic anymore. Thoughts on pot noodles? Do you know what? When I was growing up, I used to love pot noodles when I was younger, and nowadays, wouldn't really thank you for one. I like the beef and tomato, and that's about it. You know, that's genuinely the only one I have. Do you know what I tried? I had the doner kebab one last month because it was in the cupboard. I didn't buy it. It was just in there, and I took it. I think it was my mum's, and I took it, and it was minging. It was absolutely revolting. Wouldn't feed it to a homeless dog. It was just rancid. And I'll say that loud and clear. Miss a midweek derby at night. Yeah, so do I, to be fair. I really do. It's just, you know, they're not going to happen all that often. And I think the only chance of them happening ever again is... It's a 1-0 Scotland already? Really? John McGinn? Holy moly. That didn't take long. Oh, yeah, McGinn. What, 3 minutes in? Wow, good. On you go, Scotland. I love John McGinn. One of my favourite players in the world. I just love John McGinn. Crazy. Well, the update's disappeared. I had it on my screen there. Well, go on, Scotland. If I could I see the... It did come up in the BBC News thing. Like, it's disappeared again. I just want to read what they're saying about it. Colin Moffat, he's reporting on it tonight. It's not coming up. But go on. Well done, John. Love that. Good goal. Nice. I'm a fan of that. I've really not picked the time to stream. John McGinn, Ben Doak with an assist as well. I mean, everybody was talking about Ben Doak's performance against Croatia, and there we go. 3 minutes in, he's got an assist to help John McGinn score. John McGinn, of course, the guy who scored the goal against Croatia. So good, nice stuff. Good stuff. Do a watch along. If you can't tell, I've kind of fucked. My throat's gone for my CW last night, and to be honest, I think if I tried to do a watch along or anything like that, I think I would lose my voice. Not to be dramatic, but it's not going well, and I think I've got an ulcer somewhere, and not to be graphic. Where were we? I've lost. Wherever we were, in terms of questions, because we've still got a good 9 or so minutes in this stream. Who's your preferred striker for Celtic, Ryan? Well, Kyogo, naturally. But I like both of them. And I know that people are very hypercritical of both of them right now. And rightly so, because they're not providing the goals they should as strikers. But I think that, both of them will pick up the form at some point in the season when it matters. It'll show. And that's what matters most. But I like both of them, but Kyogo's the obvious answer to that. It was a great night. It was a great night, the game against Leipzig. Let's see, what else? Just a lot of talk about the goal there. You can just tell that there is absolutely nothing going on in football right now. Favourite biscuit for your tea? I mean, this is some Celtic the Thunder stuff here. And I love these questions. I'll answer anything. You know me by now. On this, somehow, we're the biggest Celtic channel on YouTube. Don't ask me how we are, but we are. We're the biggest. Half the time we're talking about fucking biscuits and kebabs. But I guess that's it. I'm relatable. I try and keep us grounded here. We are, as Kieran Auld often tells us on the Celtic the Thunder, we're big picture guys. My favourite biscuit for my tea is probably do you know what? I love a rich tea. I do. I just love all biscuits. There's very few biscuits I don't like. I do love a Biscoff. Biscoff might be the answer. Biscoff. I love a Biscoff cream. Lovely. Biscoff might be my answer though. Ryan, would you rather watch paint dry for 10 hours or Ireland for 5 minutes? Not gonna lie, for me it's the paint dry. Do you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched Ireland play a game of football. And from what I gather from Irish friends and just the general Irish public, that's probably a good thing. I could not tell you. I remember watching them in my mate's house one night. We went out for a drink, went to my pal Jai's house, and there was an Ireland game on the telly. And I cannot, this was like 2 years ago, I cannot remember who they were playing for the life of me. And I think that's probably the last time I watched an Ireland game. I mean, why would I go out my way to watch an Ireland game? I'm not Irish. I'm not going to spend my time watching it. I don't know how many people know this about me. I love football, right? But I'm not the kind of guy that sits in the house and watches football all day. I'll watch highlights, I'll stick on Match of the Day at the weekend. I watch the Celtic games, and that's really about it. And if it's midweek, you're more chance of me watching football midweek or an early kickoff at the weekend before I go out than anything else. I'm not a football guy in the sense where I'm like, Ryan McGinley, God love him. He watches so much football and he loves it. It's his passion. He loves watching. He's watching 6 games at a time, that boy. I swear to God. You see him tweeting and he's watching Man City playing one screen, he's watching Arsenal playing the other, he's watching Celtic the other. He watches games all day through the day. I can't do that. I get fucking bored. So that's I've never really bothered watching Ireland games. Let's see. Do you think we should be thinking of moving Kyogo on next summer and Taylor? I think it's a bit premature to start talking about moving Kyogo on. But Taylor, I think he might already have his mind made up. I don't think Celtic will be making the decision to move him on. I think Greg Taylor will be making the decision to move himself on. Thoughts on Luke McCowan as next captain? Once again, far too premature to be having that conversation. People who bring this question up, right? I get why you ask it. I do. This isn't me slagging you off by any means, right? But people who bring up this question fail to realise that Callum McGregor is going to play for Celtic for the next 5 years. And Celtic will be a very different looking team in the next 5 years. We do not know who the next Celtic captain is. Celtic don't even know who the next Celtic captain is. Brendan Rodgers doesn't know. Scott Brown doesn't know. Don't know why I brought Scott Brown into it. I meant to say Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor doesn't know. Nobody knows who the next Celtic captain is. It could be Luke McCowan, but we don't know where he'll be in 5 years' time. So that's my answer to that. Thank you. I appreciate it. I try to be a man of the people, I'm a people pleaser. to say the least. It would have been when you watched Ireland play Scotland as you tweeted about the brilliant national anthem. You were not talking about Flower of Scotland. I do not remember this for the life of me. But I think I watched one after. I don't even remember Ireland playing Scotland. You know that? I haven't. I no clue. Feel like Celtic have fumbled with Ben Doak. Right, do you know what? Because I've got 5 minutes left, let me make one thing clear right now. Celtic did not fumble Ben Doak. Ben Doak fumbled Celtic. Right? We need to... I've seen this tweet far too many times. What could we do? What could Celtic do? Celtic haven't fumbled Ben Doak. Liverpool came knocking at the door. Celtic couldn't do anything about it. A young 16-year-old lad challenged himself to go to Liverpool, to go to one of the biggest teams in the world. Liverpool are one of the top 5 biggest clubs in football. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, Liverpool, and maybe Bayern Munich. That's the 5 biggest clubs in the world. Certainly in the top 4, because it's between those 4, the 2 Spanish clubs and United and Liverpool. They're the biggest 4 clubs in the world. Ben Doak chose to leave Celtic. Celtic didn't punt him. Celtic didn't get rid of him. So... that tweet has been winding me up. People saying, "Oh, Ben Doak, why did we let him go? What could we do? Who were we to stand in the way of Ben Doak leaving Celtic for Liverpool?" You know, it just wasn't going to happen. And that's that, sadly. Not to go off on you, Ryan. Not to go off on you. But just as a general reaction to all those tweets I've been seeing over the past week, we couldn't do anything about it. I wish Ben Doak the best of luck with his career. I wish him all the best. And do you know what? I'd love to see him back at Celtic one day, but he made his mind up. He went off, and like this, I disagree. Celtic fumbled just like that. How did we fumble that? How? He's at Watford. He wasn't good enough to play for Celtic. Hence why he never got into the first team. The Rocco Vata king that some of our fans had made no sense to me. He clearly wasn't good enough. Clearly wasn't, and that's why he's at Watford. That's why he's there. Hold on, actually, just on that note, actually, just want to go and look at this very quickly. Rocco Vata. Rocco Vata has played 7 times for Watford this season in the Championship. 7. Which is good. Fair play. Once again, I wish him all the best. I wish him definitely a talented lad. Has his level. 7 games. There's been 15 points. He's played half the games in the league this season. Watford are flying without him starting in the team. I can't put it any better than that. I genuinely can't. Thank you, Anthony. I do appreciate it. The next one will be one night this week. I'm not entirely sure yet. I don't want to say a night and it's not that night, so it will be one night this week. It will be there, don't worry. Alistair Johnson would be my captain. I mean, if McGregor was to hypothetically retire tomorrow, Alistair Johnson's my next Celtic captain. That's what I would say. Celtic didn't fumble Doak. Doak got chances. Doak decided to go to the Scousers. Celtic did more than enough. I agree. I 100% agree. Couldn't say anything. He got offered more money to go to Liverpool. Exactly. I literally could not put it any better than that. And I've seen people go, well, Celtic could have offered them more money. Come on. Even if Celtic did offer him more money, right? There's a certain extent that Celtic could go. You can't then break the... Right, I'm all for Celtic. This is how I'll finish up the stream. I'm all for Celtic fixing the wage structure at the club. I believe the wage structure is slightly broken at Celtic. I'm all for them alternating it, right? But say, I don't know what he's on at Liverpool. Probably something like, 10 grand a week maybe? Are Celtic going to offer 10 grand a week to a 16-year-old boy? More than what probably 40% of what the first team are on? No! Obviously not. You've got to use your brain sometimes. It's not going to happen. So Celtic were never going to be able to offer more. And even if they did offer him 10 grand a week, right? Why on God's green earth would he knock back the opportunity to go and play for Liverpool Football Club? I would forgive anybody for taking the chance. I hate Liverpool. I fucking despise Liverpool. But that's a one... You might never get that chance again. Even to play for them at a level such as the youth level is a huge opportunity. To have that on your CV, to say that you played in the Liverpool youth system, it opens eyes to clubs all over the country. It was a no-brainer for young Ben Doak. And I wish him all the best, and I hope that he has a great career. And I'm more than certain that he will. More than certain. Anyway. That's me done. I'm done for tonight. That's been half an hour. I'm going to go and catch some of the Scotland game. I also feel like I'm on a whitey. Dinner's not sitting well. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in the channel tomorrow with a video of some form, and hopefully we'll see you sometime soon. So thank you. Take care of yourself. God bless, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.